Hey, Dwight, Marty, how's it going? I'm experimenting. Wilmer! I'm experimenting with StreamYard tonight, so I that's one reason I'm doing this. So I guess everybody sees me. Hey, Riley, Merry Christmas. So I'm going to mute my mic for just a second because I just got to run the vacuum here for just a second. So I'm going to mute the mic so everybody doesn't hear the noise of the vacuum cleaner. There we go. So I think I'm ready to do some backdrop painting. But you know what? I left my paint up at the other end. So hang on a second. That's pretty bad when you're doing a video on painting. Hey, Art. Yeah, you're doing a video on painting, and yet you forget to bring your paints up. So this is fun painting tonight, Art, though, because we're gonna get to watch backdrop paint dry. That's better than just regular paint. So, got my tray here. I think I want to take just a touch of blue, my phthalo blue. I think it's phthalo blue. No, yes, it's phthalo blue. And my titanium white. So I'm just gonna, yeah, you don't need much of this blue at all. I mean, I've got just barely touched white in with it. So I'm just going to kind of go along the bottom. See, that's even way too dark. So I'm going to put a lot more white in it. Just want to get some kind of real light along the bottom. Believe it or not, it's still too dark, and I can't believe that. Putting even more white in it. There we go. Much better. Just go along the bottom. And I barely even touched the blue. There. I think that's better. It's amazing how strong this blue is. Hey, Split Rock. Back for more punishment, huh? Yeah, that phthalo blue is strong, so you don't have to use much of it at all. And I just want to give some lighter background to right close to the ground where I'm going to be doing some trees and stuff. So in case you see anything back there. I'm going to go just like that. And I'm going to keep going up till it blends. Till it blends into the what I've already painted. And as this dries, it'll become a little more faint as well. So hey Lowell, how's it going? There we go. That's more what I wanted. Make sure it blends really well. And I'm not going to do any clouds this evening because I have room up here to do clouds. I really wanted to get kind of the tree line in and that kind of stuff. We got a little bit of paint right there where it doesn't belong. It's funny. I don't know if I can tell how many people are in here with, when I'm in StreamYard. Like you can when you're in YouTube. There we go. It's a nice blended effect. Like I said, I'm just trying to blend it up a little bit into what I already have. Most of what's along the bottom you're not going to see anyway because there's going to be trees and stuff in front of it. So. Hey, Dwayne. All right. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I just want to, I can see spots that you might not be able to see on camera. And as you can tell, now that I got the paint on, I'm kind of going in little X's. Hey, Late Night Model Railroad, how's it going? You're in the right place, late night. That just gives you, blends a little better, doesn't give you straight lines, that kind of stuff. I keep putting some white on there if I need to. Just to keep blending it in. I'm going to keep going up a little bit higher even. Get some more white here. Like I said, I barely touched that phthalo blue and it just really darkened up the white a lot. As I get down into my brush, more blue gets down in there. So you just got to keep working at it till it blends and gets the way you want it to be. So might just streak it just to help blend it a little bit more. Just whatever you like. All right. True dudes. Well, yeah, I'm trying to do a Bob Ross backdrop, only I'm not as good as him. It's amazing what he can do in a 30-minute show. Try to blend this down a little bit. Down near the backdrop, you just kind of blend it in. You can. Yeah, I might as well keep going now. I wasn't going to go up that high, but now that I am up that high, I might as well go all the way around to my starting point. Kind of hard to do this over, when you're stretching and trying to get into a corner. You kind of want, at least I want it a little faint. All right, it's getting there. Come over here because I wanted to go past my seams on the board is what I wanted to do. Oh, hi, Anissa. How are you? Hope I pronounced that correctly. So now we'll get down here past, that's, like I said, I want to get past the seams on my backdrop. What I'm doing is just little X's. Taking the white paint, and that kind of blends it in. And I had just a touch of phthalo blue on there, and that kind of, like I said, anybody can do this, because I have never been trained to do this. So if I can do it, anybody can. I just don't really want any thick paint built up towards the bottom. That's the whole goal, not having a thick layer of paint built up at the bottom, just a real thin layer. And just a little more over here. I think we'll be done. At least with the bottom half of our sky. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to put any clouds in tonight, but you know, up further. But I'm gonna. Let's see if I can move this camera over here. If it works better. I don't know if y'all can see that. Zoom. So I don't know how much you can see of this white. I think it's more prominent on in person than it is on the camera. Okay, so I don't like that. All right, so what I'm going to do, thanks. Does anybody want to, I mean, if anybody wants to share what they're doing, since I'm in StreamYard, I can do that now. You can join. Just let me know and I'll give you the link. Yeah, it seems that way, Art. I mean, it takes a lot of white. So I actually have a photograph that I'm going to base this on, if I can find, there it is. That I'm going to try to base it on. Let's put it that way. So if I can share my screen. And there it is. So can you see that? So this is a photo that I'm kind of basing what I'm going to do as far as how to paint the trees and stuff. So I'm not going to paint the cows, but I'm gonna try to paint the background trees and then the pine trees that are in the front of that. So because that kind of looks like the area around here, basically flat. A lot of thick woods in the background, and then a bunch of pine trees. So. Okay, Randy, I get it. So, but anyway, that's what I'm trying to base on what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is try to watch the stream and yeah, I know. Isn't that great, Wilmer? I'm going to try to watch the stream and do the picture at the same time. So, okay. So for the rest of it, I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in some red, green, and yellow. And I don't know who. A lot of y'all may not have seen my other video on backdrop painting, but I actually I use red, green, yellow, blue, black, and white, and that's the only colors I use. Oh boy, this one's stuck. Okay, we'll just unscrew the cap. And so, because really that's all the colors in the world are made from actually red, blue, and yellow. So what I'm going to do first is go along with try to go along with some dark colors. Hang on a second. I got to grab a paintbrush that's up front. And for this, I only use one brush the entire time. So first thing I'm going to do is, a lot of it looks kind of brownish gray. Well, there's some dark green to the back of that. So I'm going to, oop, I didn't get my black out. So I'm going to mix my red and my green here a little bit. Make a nice brown color. More green. So I don't know how much y'all can see what I'm doing on the paint mixing. And then put a little black in with it. So I just mixed red and green and black, and I loaded the brush up good. And you can see it's not fully mixed. Okay, so let it mix some on the brush when you're doing the painting. That'll help. And I'm just going to just put some in the background. I don't want it real high, because as you can see, these are background trees. So I don't want to go real high with them. And don't worry about if the blue's getting mixed in some too, because that's what you want. These are going to be my background trees. And yeah, I'm going to get little spots of red and brown, but just let it work for you. Let it get a little darker and a little lighter. You know, that's what you want. And this will actually dry a little bit darker than you think it will. So if it's looking too light, don't worry about it, because like I said, it's going to dry darker. And I hope y'all can see that. I'm trying to turn the camera to keep it up. Because this is almost that picture you were looking at. It's almost solid, you know, in the background. We're going to make it look different, though. It's not going to be all this color. So. You know, and you might want to, in a distance, you know, have some bare spots here and there if you want to. Happy little trees, yes. If you want to skip a space, you know, have some bare spots in it. That'll work too. Because the whole thing can't be solid usually. It won't look exactly right. I don't know how far you can see over here. Okay, so there's. Here, can y'all see what I'm doing? Well, that'll look pretty nice. And that's want to see pictures of that or video of it. And if you get too much red, go back and get some more green. Remember, if you mix red and green together, you're gonna get brown. So So the degree of brown you get, it just matters on you know, how much red or green is in it. So I come down here and just touch up some stuff here at the bottom on this side. And I want this to go all the way to the bottom, even at the bare spaces. And all I'm doing is kind of pushing the brush into the backdrop. A little too much black on that one. That's okay. That can be a different kind of tree or group of trees over here that are a little darker. So a variety of colors and shades and all that kind of stuff is really going to help. Oh, it's not that hard, Anissa. So it's just, I'm really just taking colors and splashing them on. I'm not doing a whole lot with them. I just want to make sure that every once in a while I leave some bare spaces so I can see like sky showing. I'll get out of the camera so I can, you know, see sky showing through the trees. If you can see, I've got some bare spaces, so I want to make sure I do that. And you don't have to leave a lot, just so there's a hint of, you know, individual trees. And vary the heights up and down, especially, like I say, if you've got a long run like this. I've got a I've got a long wall that I'm painting trees on, so it's I'm just kind of tapping that in down at the bottom. And here's where I'm going to stop, because I just went past my seam, so I want to stop here. And if I want to do that, if you can see, so I kind of made a bare space here. You can kind of see when you do it like this, trees take shape. It's like you didn't do anything, but there's trees on there. DES, how's it going? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back like my picture with the same color I've been using, but yeah, this is HO scale. So I'm going to come back with the same color I've been using, but I'm going to mix some more white in with it because I want to make it a little bit lighter now. I want to just come and give some highlights up front. And I'm going to do the same thing. I just want to, since I've got the dark, now I want to put the light, and I don't want to overdo the light. So I'm just going to go in and kind of push it. I'm holding the brush. Let me turn the camera back around where you can see. screen up so I can see what's going on. So I'm holding the brush up now, and you can see it's an angled brush. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the same color, I just lightened it up a little bit, and I'm just kind of pushing it in on top. And all that's doing is just giving a little bit of color depth to what you got. And you can vary it. I mean, if you want to go sideways with it, that's no big deal. You just don't want to completely cover what you've done, because that's not the point. The point is to give it some highlights. Like I say, all I'm doing is I'm pushing it in where it was. And if you want even more color variation, you can add a little bit of yellow into the mix. I don't want to here because of the reference photo I'm looking at. Doesn't really have a lot of yellow color in the background trees. But if you want to do that, you do it. Like I said, all I'm doing is I'm pushing it in. On top of what I already have. And towards the ground, I'm just stroking the brush up just a little bit, especially in the open spots. All right. So with background trees like this, you really don't even need to put a lot of like trunks or anything like that in. Is this thinner or moonshine? I hope it's not thinner. Nope, sorry, just water. And I'm just going to go up and down just to make sure got everything kind of blended in. There we go. So now you can kind of see what I've got so far, if I can get out of the way. So that's what I've got so far. And that's just basically tapping the paintbrush on the backdrop. That's all I've done. I haven't really done anything other than that. So, hey James, how's it going? Mystic, I don't think I said hey to you. How's it going? Let me look at my picture now, because I'm gonna. Hang on one second. I have to grab a paintbrush, another paintbrush from over on the other side of the room. Oh, it wasn't on the other side of the room, so that's good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is some spots. I'm going to put some smaller foreground trees, and I'm going to take what I've been mixing here, except I'm going to put a little more green in it this time, and then darken it up. A little more green. There. These are going to be little pine trees. So they're southern type pines. They're loblollies. They're not fir trees. So they're a little bit different than fir trees, which is what everybody seems to want to make, all the model railroading manufacturers. There. So I'm going to attempt at making a little, whoop, it's a little too dark. Work that in, because there were some smaller pine trees up front. There, it's starting to blend into the right color. Just get it, just get it to what you want it to be. That's all you need to do. And I'm just tapping them in. That's all I'm doing. And just by having them darker is going to kind of bring them to the forefront. So these are ones in the picture that aren't fully grown. So they're kind of harder to paint. Just kind of vary the shape and size. That's all you got to do. Got a little bit of plaster here that I don't know what's going on with it. Maybe it didn't dry well or something. Huh. It makes a mess though. Yeah, you're right. A sea sponge probably would be good for this type of painting. I might just use a smaller brush here too. And load it up. I don't want to put too many of these little foreground trees, but because we're now getting into the pasture area, so I want to make things trees sparse. Yeah, I'm not really happy as with how these are turning out, but that's okay. Just a hint of something different and darker paint. And I might want to put one just right in front of this open space. There. Now what I'm going to do, go. Kind of don't want to make that look so lopsided. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush now, my small brush, and make some trunks for the foreground trees. So to do that, I'm going to mix the green and the red again. Till I get a nice brown color. So you don't want to go too green or too red. And then I'm going to take that, and you can see my palette. I've mixed in the green and the red here. I'm going to take a little white and a little black to make gray. So I'm going to mix that green and red brown mixture and then put a little gray in it. So it's not just full brown. All right, so when I do that, I'm going to probably start on like a tree over here. You can see, I don't know if you can see this one or not, but so I'm just going to start at almost to the top and start gently. And press more as I get down towards the bottom to make it thicker. So I just got the corner of the brush going. And then it gets thicker towards the bottom. And this one's kind of in the background, but I'm going to give it a little bit of a trunk there. And I think I'm going to make, you know what I'm going to do before I go any further, is I'm going to go back, mix that green and that red some. Make me a good pine tree. A few big ones up front. So I'm just gonna these pine trees are they're kind of they're loblollies, so they're going to be, they don't look like a regular pine tree. Okay, so they're going to be higher than everything else because they're not only in the foreground, but they're usually, these loblolly pines are pretty high. They're 60, 70, 80 feet high. So a little bit more green in with that one. And that'll make them look. The problem is I don't want to get them too evenly spaced. They won't look right if they're too evenly spaced. So I'm making the tree first, and then I'll go back and make the trunk. And loblollies kind of, they have sparse branches, so you might put one in front of another. But to a degree, they still go up to a point. And I know it doesn't look like much right now, but let's see what it looks like when I'm finished. Because I can't tell either. Load the brush real good. And I'm going to flatten my brush a little bit more. Remember, they've got, if you saw in the picture, they're kind of spindly, so you don't have these big, thick trunks like a lot of trees do. And they're usually fairly straight. And a lot of times they'll have some bare limbs out to the side. So we'll see if it ends up looking anything like a pine once I'm done. I don't like it so far, but that's okay, because with your backdrop, you can paint over it anything you don't like. And I just don't like them. So this is good experience. So if there's something you do and you don't like, change it. Hey JT1, how's it going? See you, Anissa. Have a good evening. You know what? I just don't like them. So I'm going to wipe off as much as I can. And you can do this because it ain't gonna hurt a thing. I'm gonna come back in with my white and my phthalo blue and do this. And guess what? They're gone. And a little green gets mixed in with it, and that's okay because I can come back and fix that. I just didn't like where they were going. So I'm going to come down here and wipe this trunk out. That's what's good when you're backdrop painting is, you know, if you don't like it, paint over it and start again, because that's what I'm going to do. I don't want, I'm not going to paint over all of it, but there are parts in here that I just don't like. I didn't like those. So that's my first coat. You can, you can do anything like this to your backdrop you want. Let me get a little bit of white going again, so I can kind of get that green off of the sky. Gotta get it thickened up. There we go. Now touch the phthalo blue into it, and I mean touch. And get that green out of my sky. Because I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some tall trees on the layout instead of trying to paint them onto the backdrop. I think that's what's going to happen at this point. I just didn't like what was going on. So of course that green's on there now. It's going to be hard to paint over, but that's okay. I'll get it eventually. It'll eventually fade out. Yeah, it just looks like I had a big thunderstorm going on, right? That's not what I'm going to do. Get this painted out. And then I can come along in and dab at the top of the trees and kind of fix that up some more. Just have a lot of white on hand. That's all I can say. There we go. See, that's starting to mix in now. So this is good. I mean, so you can see that I'm going to mess up just like anybody else. But if you do, there's nothing that says you can't correct it, right? Yeah, I've still got some of that green working in there, so. But that ain't too bad. If you do that, work it into the sky. Because now it just looks like gray clouds. No, I don't know, James. I don't know if I'm having fun or not. I don't ever like most of us, I don't ever like to have to redo things, but sometimes you got to. Sometimes you just don't like what you got, and you go back and start over. And that's what I'm doing. The hard part is getting that green out of the sky. But I think I'm almost done. It's making it a little thunderstorm looking. That's okay. But you can see I'm painting the sky just like I was before. I'm just doing X's. And that kind of blends everything. And it gives you some happy little accidents, as Bob Ross would say. You just don't want any brush strokes, so you want to make sure you go back and kind of lightly go across it, very lightly, just to kind of get the brush strokes out, which is what I'm doing. See, down there I still got a lot of green down here. I'm trying to work out. So, if you can get that, yeah, I think I'm going to put my, just put the tall trees on the layout and leave the background trees. I'm trying to see what that's looking like on camera because it's hard to tell right now because it's still wet. So I see streaks. But I'm telling you, this paint dries a lot differently than it looks when you first put it on. A lot different. And so I want to make sure I might just leave it like that because it kind of looks like a thunderstorm coming across the sky. So I tell you what, I'm going to leave it like that while I go and fix up my trees now and see what happens. So I'm going to come back in here and dab just so the top of the trees aren't flat. Let me get some black in there because too much of that white's getting mixed in with it. And I want to get rid of that trunk I did kind of. And I don't want to go too high once again because they are background trees. So. Yeah, and once again, I had to get this done before I do the scenery in front. So, I don't really mind what I did here with these smaller trees in front, like here. I don't mind those. I might give them a little trunk. I don't want to overdo it. Give them trunk and just faint. Very faint. That's why I'm using almost the same color as the tree. Branches. And I'm going to cover this up just a little bit. As I'm going to come back, I'll show you. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to just dab some yellow in there where I was working. A little more green. Just to lighten things up, just to give them some highlights. So if I come back in here, let's see what it looks like. Oh, I still got too much red on the brush. Trying to get that red off of the brush. A little white in with it just to make it a little bit lighter. A little bit more white. The white's not as overwhelming as the rest of the colors seem to be. Because this, even though it goes on real light, it actually dries a lot darker. So I'm just kind of stippling it on because I don't want it to cover up all the background work. I just want to make this some highlights of the tree. And trees are funny. They grow in all shapes and sizes, so don't be afraid to do that. Make them look weird. And I'm just going along, and all I'm doing is stippling. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, where I've painted with that lighter color, just in spots, just to give it some highlights. Yellowish highlights. Still getting a lot of that red on there. I don't really want it. Didn't want a lot of red on what I was doing. So at this point, just, whatever looks good to you. And let your paints kind of mix on the brush. Don't mix them all on the palette, because you'll get so much variation of color like this. And this stippling is just kind of a blending effect. All it's doing, it's kind of blending all the colors together. You know, and it's funny, as I turn the brush over, I'm getting completely different colors. So there we go. So I got a good variety of colors in there. I've got even a tree standing alone over here. Another one standing alone over here. So, and you know, it's funny. I kind of like the way the sky is drying, believe it or not. Even though I thought that was a mistake. I do kind of like the way things are drying over here. That greenish gray color in there is just another just looks like a thunderstorm coming on the horizon. So I think I'm going to leave it. Even though, like I say, it's a greenish gray color, it almost looks correct. Happy little accident. And you got a little blue showing through, so that I'm going to blend this down a little bit further, make it a little more level at the bottom. I'm going to run it across. Like I say, I don't want real brush strokes in it. I kind of just want it to float there. And this is just kind of a blending thing. That's all this is. I'm doing it real lightly. I'm barely touching the backdrop. It's just kind of blending everything together is all it's doing. Kind of blending the cloud into the top part of the sky. All right. Your family portrait. Yeah. Yeah, I actually kind of like the effect of the greenish gray mixed in there with some cloud. That was a happy little accident. So, and that's what happens when you're painting. Like I said, I'm not doing anything special. I was more just dabbing paint on. So Gator 115, where are you located? Local-ish. And I think I'm going to try to bring this up a little bit too. White over there. Eustace. Oh, okay. Overton to Henderson. Good. All right. Well, I'm in I'm in Longview. So if you ever want to come up, anybody's welcome if they're ever around East Texas. Uh, anybody's welcome to stop by. Yeah, I hadn't planned on the thunderstorm clouds, but I kind of like them, so I think I'm going to leave them. If anybody lives around this area knows, I mean, sometimes you can see these thunderstorms coming from miles off. You can have clear skies on either side, and then all of a sudden, you see one big thundercloud coming at you. So. But when I get over to this side where I haven't started painting, something totally different might happen. Who knows? So, I think I'm gonna go in here and do something to this guy. Get just a little something down at the bottom. Trying to make sure everything gets covered down at the bottom too. Don't want to see any white plaster in my scenery, because it is showing up every once in a while. The paint's just soaking into it. I don't know why. Oh, I don't like that's happening. Better quit touching it before more little things like that start to happen. Things are peeling. Sure don't want that happening. All right. Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, I'm originally from Shreveport, so I know the area well. No, Mystic Longview's an hour from Shreveport. Just straight west on I-20. And there's a train show up here in Jefferson, Texas, which is about 35 miles northeast of where I live. So the train show's in Jefferson. It's in May, I think around May 15th, something like that. Anyway, it's Saturday and Sunday, whatever that weekend is in the teens there. So anybody wants to come to the Jefferson train show, we're open for business up there. So anyway, I think I'm going to call that done. Unless everybody just hates it. If everybody hates it, I'll just paint over it and start again. So, all right. Well, I think I've gone on long enough. I don't know, an hour and a half. So I think that's more than enough for everybody. Anybody have anything else they need to say? Otherwise, we're gonna cut it off. It's 10:30 at night, almost 10:30. Thanks, Mystic. Appreciate it. All right. No, that's not far at all. I mean, anybody's welcome up here. So I always need help working on my layout, you know. So okay, well, y'all take it easy. Thanks, Art. Y'all take it easy, and I will see you next time. Remember, Tuesday on track Tuesday is my slot, so I'll see you at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. Don't forget to go to I'm gonna put in the commercial now. Go to my Teespring store, and when you buy a T-shirt or a coffee mug or a tote bag or whatever, put in the discount code of Crow. We'll give you 5% off. All right, take it easy, everybody. Have a great night.